Part of me doesn't even want to talk about this anymore because I feel like people aren't going to change their mind. This is one of those things that is really, really ingrained and propagandized because they're putting it under a blanket of women's rights. I don't buy that at all. I don't think it has anything to do with women's rights at all. They say, give a trigger warning, give a disclaimer. I'm not going to do that because I have my opinions, you have yours. What makes America work, and it does mostly work. It's got a lot of problems, yes, but it mostly works. And it still has brought more prosperity to humanity than any other country ever. Ever, ever, ever. So let's agree on that. We can objectively measure that as well. You cannot deny that fact, period. My opinions, your opinions, while coexisting in the same society. That's foundational. I don't generally like it if you have an opinion that I disagree with, and you generally don't like it if I have an opinion that you disagree with. But we have to understand that that's okay. That's part of the process. Everybody is at a different understanding. Everybody is at a different point in their life. Some have kids, some don't. Some have gone through trauma, some haven't. Everybody has a different perspective. If your answer, though, this is what drives me, it doesn't drive me anything. It just makes me sick. It's disgusting. If you think that you should try to get someone canceled, that you should attack them, that you should slander them, that you should in any way, shape, or form paint them as an enemy because they have a different perspective than you, then you are a piece of shit. You honestly don't deserve to enjoy the freedom that you so readily take for granted. It doesn't matter whether you're pro-abortion or not, pro-choice or not, whatever. If you do that because somebody has a different opinion than you, then you're no better or different than any of the millions of people that have been slaughtered under the guise of religious holy wars or this, that, infidels. Like, you're no better than that. It's just ideology manifesting in real world violence. And it's never justified. It means nothing. And it's a complete and utter abomination that is disrespectful to our species. That is just disrespectful to what we can become, what we can do. It's disgusting. It's the base primal nature of humanity to its ugliest extent. We should be able to overcome that now. Most people aren't. But if you're a thinking individual, if you're listening to this right now or watching this, you're a thinking individual. So you got to rise above your primal instinct to make it black or white, to tribalize, to make it us versus them. You have to rise above that. And if you don't, if you choose to attack people because you think it's some greater good or you think they're evil or they're a threat to this or whatever, you're the actual threat. It's funny, the irony of the shit I see from blue check marks on Twitter when they say this person is a threat to democracy. They always say it about somebody they disagree with. Usually that's on the other side of the political aisle. The threat to democracy is trying to claim others are a threat to democracy because they don't agree with you. That's a threat to democracy, you stupid motherfucker. This is my take, and in my opinion, it's the right take. Because how could it not be? If that offends you or bothers you, then you should dig deeper and do more research to understand why your position should be defended the way you think it should be, and then defend it the way you think you can. It doesn't mean talk to me about it because I don't care. Like, I don't care what your opinion is. You shouldn't really care what mine is. In so much so as that you could maybe learn from it or at least try to empathize with someone else's perspective. If you're not interested in changing your mind, most people aren't. On this, I'm definitely not interested in, though there are nuances here. There are like certain exemptions and there's definitely medical procedures and stuff, which is like, in my opinion, has nothing to do with this, right? Okay, aside from that, I'm not interested in changing my opinion on this. Maybe one day I will. I highly doubt it though. Maybe one day you'll change your opinion. Maybe you are open, not open. Maybe you're halfway there. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. It doesn't matter what my opinion is. It just matters that we should empathize and try to learn from the other side, understand how they can have that opinion, and then respect them as a human. For as long as we live in America, there are foundational rights that every citizen of this country are afforded, that are guaranteed by the Constitution, and that ideally are protected by all the laws and the police and the crap that they have, most of which I don't think should even be there. I mean, fundamentally, I say this as an anarchist, right? So keep that in mind. But as long as I do live in America, I would expect certain due process of law and certain decentralization and separation of powers that the founding fathers built this country to be based on. I would hope that they would work. Even if they work ineffectively, they should still kind of work. If somebody tries to kill me, I would expect law enforcement to try to stop them. If somebody were to murder me, I would expect law enforcement to give them the severest punishment. And if somebody tried to murder me, I mean, I'm going to get to them first, so that's fine. But this is the right afforded to every citizen. That includes those that are in the atmosphere, breathing air, and those that are reliant upon a mother to survive. But they are still citizens. This, to me, is not a debatable point. This is why you have to think from first principles. You have to get down to the crux of the matter. What are the foundational truths here? There are fertility options where you can prevent a life from being created. Morning after pill. There's even like herbs and other things that you can do to do this. So like every time someone tries to say, what if you're raped? What if this? These are all circumstantial things that can be addressed point by point, but they don't override the foundational principle that every American is protected against the involuntary slaughter of them, which is the ultimate violation of property right. When someone kills you, it's the ultimate violation of your property rights. The ultimate property right is you, is your body. And to say that another's body matters less because they're dependent upon your body is not a mathematically true statement. You have two bodies, and you have to consider the property rights of each body. That is fundamentally the only way I think about abortion and pro-life and pro-choice, whatever. And if I believe that murder is wrong, and I do, and I believe that nobody should have their life taken away, and I believe that life is the ultimate ideal, the ultimate goal for the universe, and especially for our species, then I can not say that I believe abortion should be legal. Now, if there's medical abortion or certain circumstances like that, that's different. And I believe if the mother is at risk and you have to abort a baby because of that, I would side on that. And I think it would then again be like a combination of deciding the dad, the mother, the doctor, whatever. So yes, like that's one of those exceptions. But in the case of rape, which is the one you hear all the time, unfortunately, you don't get to supersede someone's right to life because of the circumstance, because of the unfavorable circumstance in which they were conceived or the unfavorable circumstance into which they will be born. You do not get to make that exception. And that's what the Constitution provides for. That's what the entire bedrock of the American way of life and why it's been successful to this point is because of the strong adherence to property rights. And like we've established, every citizen born in this country, and that means every citizen that comes into this country, whether they're inside of another one, whether they're inside of a womb or outside of a womb, are afforded those same rights. That to me is how I think about this. I'm not going to ever change my mind on that. I can't see a way to change my mind on that because to me, this is just a mathematical first principle. And this is how you have to think deeply about political issues. This is why it's so hard because most people can't do that. Most people don't think in first principles. Most people think whatever the current thing is or whatever the mainstream media tells them to or whatever. They don't even understand like the process. They don't understand what the definitions are. There's like the morning after pill, and then there's like the abortion pill, then there's abortion procedure, and all these things are completely different. Some people think the morning after pill is a form of abortion. It's not. It's a form of contraception, just like a condom is. Would you say that a condom is a form of abortion? No, it's preventing life from happening. But when life happens, that is the miracle that must be protected. That is the American way. That life that can't defend itself should be afforded the same rights that we all enjoy every single day of the year. I'm tapping out of the subject because already had some arguments with some people. This is one of those things where people like their head explodes. They just can't talk about it. And I'm not afraid to talk about it. I will tell people what I think. If they're going to post publicly on social media or whatever, if they're going to drop a comment in a thread and they're going to say, this is ridiculous, like Roe versus Wade got overturned or whatever, I'm going to have something to say about it. And that's just too fucking bad. I also understand that that's very important. People's ideas need to be stress tested. That's how you get to good ideas. That's how you kill bad ideas. Groupthink is the most dangerous thing for the human animal. Not just for America, but for our entire species. That's how we're going to eventually all die in World War III if we succumb to groupthink and tribalism. I understand the importance of different viewpoints and expressing them and not this censoring, think one way or you're booted off bullshit that is the biggest threat to the future of humanity. So I will always express my opinion. And you should always respect it. You don't have to agree with it or like it. It could even make you mad. That's just too bad. That's part of freedom of speech. And if you don't like it, you can go live in China or Canada or Australia or any of these other shitholes that are becoming more of a shithole every single day that you don't got to worry about that. And you can have all the groupthink and propaganda you want, and your life's going to suck more than it is. And your life's going to suck more than it does here. And that's just the trade-off you get. So you either accept that people have alternative points of view and you get to enjoy this amazing abundance all around you and this freedom that you have, or you give that up and go somewhere where nobody's going to hurt your feelings or bother you because they're all going to think the same or they're not going to tell you or whatever. That's it. Last time I'm talking about this. I'll see you next one.